everybody. Welcome back to another episode of You Haven't Seen That Podcast, or YHST for short. I'm Isaac.
I'm Elba.
And I'm Carlos.
And this is a show where we cover movies on that growing list of films that has people asking us the question, You haven't seen that? And that question lays true today because we have two massive, huge, gigantic, gargantuan movies for you to that we're going to talk about for you today. And they're movies that by the point of this coming out, everyone probably will not only have seen it, but will have seen it twice, possibly thrice, and even whatever the fourth thing is, but mostly bootleg. Everyone's seen these two movies, and that is Spider-Man Brand New Day and The Odyssey. No round of applause, nothing, no more
No, like we were waiting for you to build it up, you know.
Was that not? I built you up, Buttercup.
But yeah, I mean, talk about summer blockbusters. Like this is quintessential.
It feels like movies are like this is what it was. This is what it's about. Movies, big, huge blockbusters. Everyone can't stop talking about it. Things to love, things to hate, things where there's possibly some, backlashes and controversies that finally got, squashed because guess what? When you actually go see the thing, all the things you theorized about are fucking completely wrong, which we'll get into later. But before I get ahead of myself, if you're new here, if you haven't done so already, follow us on social media at
YHST Pod
on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And please do us a favor and hit the likes, hit the share. Even just hidden copy helps and comment, interact with us, do all the things. Let us know what your movie list is. And now I want to try to start a hashtag called IHST, like I haven't seen that. So let us know what movies you haven't seen. But also, if you want to support us, then we appreciate it. You can buy us whatever new bucket of popcorn to add on our mantle. If you want to just support the show in any means necessary, you can do that on Venmo at
YHST Pod.
And we thank you and we appreciate it. And it really does help everything, not just put food in our bellies, but put the popcorn in our laps. I don't know. I had nowhere to go with that.
Our very suggestive popcorn collection.
Yeah. The video will be out by now of our collection. So because they're huge movies, it's going to be huge discussion, which means we're foregoing our usual format of either or news and trivia. In fact, even when it comes to like our YHST Fresh, I'm just going to tell you what the fucking ratings are because they're great. So I'm not going to get, nitpick and split hairs by going like, well, it's actually 91%. I do want to get what your guys' percentages are. Oh, yeah, actually. Without further ado, let's go ahead and start off with the one I think is a little bit easier to talk about, and that is Spider-Man Brand New Day.
Woohoo.
Starring Tom Holland, Zendaya, the other guy, the one other person, and some other people that were like theorized. Yeah.
Wow, no respect for Jacob Batalon.
I didn't have it in front of me because I'm kind of sort of winging this one just because it's not as deep as like the Odyssey is, but it's still a movie to talk about, and we had just seen it a couple of days ago prior to this recording, and I'm excited to talk about it. But before and by the way, again, at this point, everyone's seen these movies, so don't even, if you haven't seen these things,
what are you doing?
You're hurting yourself. I'm not gonna give you the spoiler-free stuff. That's out on our social media. So go watch those spoiler-free reviews. But we're just getting into it. Full spoilers. So pause it now. You'd be warned. But I'm going to let you guys take it away with Spider-Man because I think I'm just going to ramble. Don't all jump in at once.
Dramatic pause.
Dun, dun, dun.
Again, it's all about build-up. This episode, I mean, July has just been nothing but build-up, but I'll go ahead and go first. Spider-Man, wow. Love the original. Well, it's funny I say original trilogy because then it makes it sound like Tobey Maguire, which, yes, I do enjoy those. I've enjoyed all Spider-Mans in general. But I'm referring to the first three Tom Holland movies. I've enjoyed them for what they were, after the for the bad aftertaste of Amazing Spider-Man 2, that hot mess. So at least, again, it brought back Spider-Man for me to a certain extent. Spider-Verse movies were great. Spider-Verse movies, I'm sorry.
Spider-Verse.
So now going into this, now we got a new director, Destin Daniel Cretton, who gave us Shang-Chi and Wonder Man,
which I liked both of those things.
Yeah. I've yet to see it, but I will catch up.
I hit him with a little bit of news about Wonder Man.
Oh, yeah. Season 2 has been canceled.
Dun, dun, dun.
Tragic. But yet I still have to see it, but I'm sure it's great. But anyways, really I digress. This still felt like a natural continuation of the first three movies, but it was still, it has its own unique identity. Like it's its own style. They build on what the John Watts trilogy had already established. So I overall really enjoyed this movie. Alva?
Everyone knows by now my whole thing with Marvel. This one gets a pass.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one gets a pass. I think for Spider-Man movie, like the three new like trilogy Spider-Man movies, definitely those three get a pass for me. I really enjoyed it, and I also enjoyed the emotional parts of it as well.
Yeah.
Like that's all I'm saying. No tears though. That so
Me neither. Totally not me. I'm a man.
but like we said earlier, we're going to the spoiler zone now. So I'm sorry.
Spoiler alert, Aunt May dies.
Again.
They bring her back. It's a little bit of Marvel Zombies cut in there.
No, that had its moments where it did certain characters did kind of remind me of like different Avenger moments, which was really good for me. The only thing that I am mainly sticking with is you got a Bad Bunny song in there for like 5 seconds.
Where?
Really? I didn't even notice.
Oh my God, when he's going through like webbing through New York.
Okay, I thought that song was gonna go into like the Spider-Man theme, Spider-Man, because the way like was that the
No.
Oh, no, then fuck that. Then that's the only one I liked. The one.
It's like he's slinging through like New York. It's like in the beginning of the movie, like the first before he gets
Spider-Man.
Yeah,
Was it New York?
Yeah,
Was he swinging?
No, he was gliding. More gliding.
Actually, he didn't have gliding in this one, huh?
Not the same.
But it was, I think, before it was within that montage where he's like getting all the people and
all the villains
and stuff, and then he's just going through.
Yeah.
And then there's the Bad Bunny song in there, and I'm just like, are we hinting at Miles Morales now, or are we just hinting at the fact that we're going through all the boroughs in New York?
Okay,
Maybe a little bit of both. Yeah, that was missed on me.
But yeah, because after that, I remember I don't look at trailers. I don't look at movie posters. I mean, I look at them, but I don't analyze them. But after I saw that, I went back to movie posters and I analyzed one of them where it's his foot. And at the bottom, there's...
And you say you don't, analyze?
No, I don't analyze until after the movie.
So there's a foot, and I know this metatarsal somewhere.
Anyways, whatever. There's like the little Miles Morales tagging on one of the corners of a name tag.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna have to really look.
There you go.
Right.
Because
Jesus.
Easter eggs, guys, I'm not new to I'm not like new to Easter. I can look at Easter eggs.
You're not new to Easter.
I'm not new to Easter eggs, but like it's there, and it just seemed that the 5 seconds of Bad Bunny being in there was a total throw off. And I didn't know if we because it had good music, but I didn't know if we were just going through the boroughs and stuff, like kind of the representations of each boroughs and things like that.
It was very New York. New York is finally back as a character, as a set piece.
Oh yeah, like this really brought us back to a real street level story.
Small potatoes.
Small potatoes, big potatoes. I love that.
This is a small potato movie.
I love it. All the memes have started. Again, I'm going to ramble. I'm not as concise as you sometimes, especially after drinking a big old dragon cup of coffee. It's finally felt like a Spider-Man movie. Like you had mentioned with the original Holland trilogy. What do you even call those, right? Because this is the 4th installment.
Technically, yeah.
I was kind of sick of it. I was sick of the multiversal shit. I was sick of anything else that had to do with like the expanded universe, right? I wanted Spider-Man. I loved Homecoming. And I liked this sort of seamless integration in the overall MCU with everyone else, Avengers and everything like that, the dimensions and whatnot. And they went back to doing that with this one. Of course, you're going to have him utilizing an Avenger. You're going to have him utilizing some other street level people, i.e. the Punisher. And I like how it worked. I liked how it didn't stand out like a sore thumb where it's like, oh, and now they just wedge this in. Not to say that there wasn't an aspect, which we'll get into, that felt it could have felt shoehorned in, but I thought was dealt with very nicely. Although I had some specific issues with that, and it'll be the whole discussion. I'll get in a second. You should fucking calm down. Okay. I think everyone's acting has matured. Everybody was wonderful. It didn't feel, they're grown up. They're out of college now. That's the whole point of it. And so everyone feels grown up. specifically Spider-Man, specifically Tom Holland. Even in interviews, I feel him, grown into the role of just taking up the mantle. And the way that he plays Peter, the way that he plays Spider-Man in so many of the scenes where, I just saw a clip before we started recording, and I remember he would play Spider-Man as very like, hey, Mr. Stark, listen, did you see the thing that happened? And, and it was fun at a point, and I kind of got a little bit tired of it. And I'm so glad that he's now grown up and he's like, yeah, this is a very serious role and I'm doing it by myself. And there's these beats in the movie where I almost expected that older version of Spider-Man to jump in and go, hey, MJ, but it was so subdued and it was powerful. It was the old less is more. And that whole less is more goes with a lot of other things in this movie. One in particular is music. It wasn't, again, another clip I just saw was like, the three Spider-Man swinging on the Statue of Liberty, and how like, big bombastic orchestra, dun, 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 dun. And in Brand New Day, it's calmer, and it's not just this big wall of sound hitting you. It's very subtle. It's very in the background.
It's grounded.
It's extremely grounded. And I didn't think that we were going to be able to get that from an MCU movie as of late, being with the phases kind of being all over the place and just a lot of duds. From the first trailer, I'm always apprehensive because I love Spider-Man. Absolutely love Spider-Man. You should see my underwear right now. I just was hoping that the movie was going to be what the vibe was in the trailer, which they did give us a lot, and the trailer gave us a lot, and we saw it play out in the movie. Granted, in context, it's wonderful, but I was like, okay, trailer just gave us a lot of big chunks, and that's why I don't go too much into trailers. But overall, the tone finally felt like a Spider-Man movie, where it wasn't just like you got a little glimpse of him being fun in one portion, and then he's all sulky and emo and the rest of it. It was a great mix of the both. I've always loved that Spider-Man was, almost winks to camera without breaking the fourth wall, but kind of were some little winks and nods, like maybe that Deadpool would do with, was it the foot, not the Foot Clan, the hand.
Yeah.
The hand in the prison scene, or they do the jump and he goes, that's cool. I was like, yes, I love that. It's very slightly looking at camera, but it's fantastic. It's perfect. Alva said it was emotional. It was emotional when I didn't expect it to be. I was hoping it was going to be emotional. I wanted it to pull some heartstrings. You're dealing with Peter after having dealt with some heavy major loss, and I want to see him feel that. Now, there are some moments where you're allowed to have a few jokes, but it isn't that MCU overly done, eye-rolly, groaning joke after joke after joke. I fucking love this movie.
Well, you pointed this out when, right after we watched the movie the other day, that they actually let things simmer, like, let it play out.
Pacing is great.
Yes, of course you still have that Marvel humor, but this definitely knew when to utilize those moments.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I mentioned before, right? With Holland not jumping into like a line and everyone just, and it didn't feel like, these Disney kids going like, hey, MJ, hey, Peter. Why did I do Goofy? Hey, Peter. But if in a movie, even in a 2-hour and 25-minute movie, in a movie that had a lot to do, let these scenes breathe. That let the emotion breathe. That let the consequences breathe. I was very impressed by it. I was beyond impressed. And I just think the first thing I said once it was all over and done was, this is the movie that I was hoping for. I like how Peter was and his dilemmas, and I like how Spider-Man overall was and his integration with New York and how New York treated him, and without there being heavy mention of all the Avengers and all the other things going on. Because that was my problem with, as Alva calls it, Captain America.
Brand New Day?
Yeah.
Oh, alternate title.
Yeah. Alt title. Alva rewrites the title. Where that particular movie, you had to have seen about 30 other movies in order to even get what the fuck they're talking about. They did such a good job in Spider-Man Brand New Day of, you could just drop in. Obviously if you're completely new, if you're not even perfectly aware, you might get a little lost, but they threw some flashbacks, which were not treated as flashbacks, but more of as a memory.
Yeah.
Which I enjoyed. And you're not completely lost. Yeah, sure, you should watch the other three, but
what happened in Staten Island, though?
That's what I want to know.
it's the same thing with Black Widow and Hawkeye. Like whatever happened in not Bangladesh, Budapest, right?
Yeah.
It's just an unspoken thing.
don't know.
I like those things
That's
that
what
are
it
in
reminded
context.
me of. It's like, yeah, you know that they had some side adventure, but it's cool that
4 years have gone by since the last movie.
That's just like a running gag throughout the movie where it's like, hey, Staten Island, remember that? It's like, what happened?
horseshit.
What happened?
Let me tell you something. It's horse shit.
Okay, let me tell you something. Oh,
Listen,
we got
dumbbell, okay?
Which we might as well talk about John Bernthal. So I, along with everyone else, the main concern is, okay, it's cool that we're bringing Punisher into this, but how's he going to fit where he's a hard R, mature character? He's always been that way. And it's funny, again, they introduced him in a Spider-Man, one of the Spider-Man comics,
That's
which
right,
I
yeah.
read. And I'm like, okay, how are they going to fit him in? Because he's cursing all the time, dropping F-bombs. He goes all in with his kills.
Mm-hmm.
But I like how this was handled well enough where they didn't compromise the character.
No.
It's still
Yeah.
him, very rough around the edges. And he will do whatever it takes.
They
to
add a little
complete
more
his
humor to
mission.
him.
A little bit,
Yeah.
but at least like he wasn't like a clown.
Right.
So even like when he's about to curse, and it's in the trailer too, where Spider-Man just shoots his web right
Yeah.
into his mouth.
Yeah, as much as the Punisher is going to be the Punisher, you can't let him drop an F-bomb. But I really was surprised at how many like shits and goddams they left.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
But I also like how I remember was it the Punisher was kind of just done being the Punisher and just went from like in the show.
Yeah.
And then what is it? The one last kill. Mm-hmm. I like how he was like, I'm back on, which I like now that
It was a more deep and tear-jerking, dramatic, like scary 45 minutes version of that. But yeah.
but I like how that was
back.
yeah, I like how that was the moment of him basically coming back, because imagine not having that 45-minute special and then just having Frank Castle in
Would
this
have been
one.
jarring.
It would have been like, wait, but none of it is making any sense.
Right.
So I like that after Daredevil, there was that one special, which goes into this movie. And I love that.
Yeah, that's the only homework that you would.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was what I did too. I told you guys right before I
Right.
left for the theater, watched it. I'm like, okay, now I have a little setup to how is he included into this? Like, where's his state of mind at?
I was going to say that was like the only homework you have to do, but that's only if you've been following the Punisher series, and you don't have to do any homework going into this at
Not
all.
really, no. And again, going on with their chemistry. Oh my God, love their chemistry. Like how you put it, it was like
So many
Big
quotable
Brother,
lines. Oh,
big
I loved
like
it.
John Bernthal being like his.
Which he really is big brother to Tom Holland. I mean, he helped him get the role.
Yeah, they helped each other with like their auditions for their
Uncle Frank
perspective.
for you guys.
For their characters.
Let me tell you
And
something.
again, just like they're bickering, how he's like, you know what, you're gonna let me do things my way. And there's like one scene where they're in the damage control big high-rise
Yeah,
building.
DODC.
And how Jean Grey is watching them like through a camera, and you could just see John Bernthal's energy like coming through the screen. Like, you know, like it's like you could hear him talk even though like you don't hear any audio. That just like made me chuckle.
You know, my favorite quote is of the Punisher in this one.
What?
Ah,
Oh, yeah.
It's always
It's either let me tell you something.
yeah.
Or,
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. With that. Ah. I'm also doing a face. Okay, the negatives of it. Let's start funny.
okay.
All right.
The
It didn't
organic.
make me cry.
No. The organic webs. Specifically,
Oh.
specifically him first trying to use it instead of doing the whole go web go. And then I love the extended, like you get a clip of it, a bit of it in the trailer where he kind of gags a little bit, but the full gag is like almost a vomit gag.
Yeah.
Like I was like, oh, it grossed me out. But this is why we got the fucking cup. It justified the cup's existence because it was so like not phallic, but like he jizzed out of his. Let's be honest, you guys, come on, we're all adults here. He fucking completely just blew a load out of his wrist, and I was like, okay, wow, they're really old. There's more hand jizz.
Well,
It's a very
I kind of
sophisticated talks on
So
majesty.
I kind of wonder, again, this is a little trivia fact. Back in the 90s, James Cameron was trying to do a Spider-Man movie.
Right.
And he was actually going to delve into
Organic.
that aspect of Peter Parker going through puberty and discovering himself
Yeah,
in
yeah.
that way. So I kind of wonder, I wonder if that's like just like a very deep cut, subtle nod to what could have been James Cameron's Spider-Man.
You know, it was more on the nose. This is such a deep cut. Have you ever seen the MTV Awards skit with Jack Black and Sarah Michelle Gellar.
No.
Jack Black as Peter Parker. And it's a very famous scene in the first Sam Raimi where he's discovering his webs.
Oh.
But it happens when he's looking out the window and he notices that MJ's getting dressed and he's like, ugh! And he shoots away. He's like, oh, and my hands are hair and palms are hairy.
It's a kid's movie. It's a kid's movie, guys.
Anyways.
Moving.
Okay, fine. Let's get serious now. This is the first, not confirmed, but the first X-Men character that isn't an alternate universe character or alternate timeline thing. Like, this is one of the new cast of the upcoming X-Men, which is Sadie Sink as Jean Grey. They kept her role a secret as much as possible, though everyone theorized it's either MJ or it's either Jean Grey, but we didn't want it to be either because it was sort of hinted that she's going to be the villain. Sadie Sink, at least. Sadie Sink.
Sadie Sink.
I get her confused with Sophia Lillis. Redheads are redheads. Although she would have been good in this one too.
So they kept her character a secret.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah.
Except for during like their red carpet, one of the musicians
Oh, yeah.
who did a song for this movie, which I think they cut the song out or dimmed it. Was it Steve Lacy in an interview? They asked him like, without spoiling anything, what is the best part of this movie? What is something that you're like? And he says Jean Grey.
Okay, yeah, I remember seeing that on Instagram.
And
I will give it to Marvel for doing a pretty good job of keeping it a secret. And, you do want that pop of a big reveal, which is perfectly fine. It's awesome that we're getting, I was like, ooh, okay, confirmed, because I accidentally did see a little bit of a spoiler. People don't know how to fucking give spoiler warning, the slides on Instagram or whatever. My problem is she's the villain. She's effectively the villain. And the true villain is sort of revealed at the very end. But for the majority of the movie, she's being rather villainous to an extent that surpassed, let's say, Scorpion, which I loved Scorpion in this. The suit looked great, and I love it all. But all those like classic villains, all the villainy things and being evil and threatening loved ones, I didn't expect out of this character. I understand that this is sort of this universe is Jean Grey's origin story. And so it's a dark one. And it does take inspiration from the comic where her sister dies. And that's where her powers mutate to get to the power level that she's at, which is awesome. The thing is, I would have adjusted it in one of two ways. One is either not have her go so dark, basically bluffing, because she fucking pretty much killed a guy. She killed a couple people. She did bombings. She fucking fired off round after round in a tank. I mean, she really, there was a lot of collateral damage. So it's either you power that down as far as her killing people, or you make her feel the weight of her consequences, of the consequences of her actions.
Well, then here's my question. Did she do the Charles Manson where she sent people to go do things? Technically, she never murdered anyone.
Oh, we're going there.
I'm not. No, don't fucking give her that. I'm not going there because this is the world of superpowers where you're directly influencing someone. You're literally in their body. They can't control it, and so their actions are your actions or whatever.
But you heard it first on YHSC Pod that Jean Grey is the Charles Manson of the MCU.
You're going to say Charles Manson is innocent. So she was extremely villainous. There is the now very famous scene of her inhabiting MJ's body and kissing Peter and, saying that line like, go ahead, Peter, touch her. You've been wanting to. And it's so evil and they play it so well. It's emotional because when I thought that she maybe remembered, because it felt like, Disney princess moment, that I like, my heart swelled and I was like, oh, and his emotion was so great. And then to turn that on its head and it's like, just kidding. I'm inside your girl.
Yeah. I remember like hearing a few gasps and I was like, oh man, they went there. They did that. So
she went there.
Yeah.
So that's my only major problem with, I won't say like the movie, but with the character.
Interesting. That's your major problem.
And well, here's the thing. A little caveat on that, right? She's kind of an unrelenting killer. But seriously, the garbage man, that was just really fun. She didn't know how to do that. She's like, all right, race me, Peter. And he walks him back into traffic and he gets hit by a car. Like, oh, they're not going to hit him. Nope, they hit him with a car. Yep. Cool. Real dark, real evil. So my problem is it's also, she's just fucking offing people for her own cause. but that finally when she's at that moment of being able to kill her guy, avenge her sister and kill her guy, she hesitates. She really did. She hesitated. Like, why not just do it now? Wait, you've been waiting all this fucking time. You've already confirmed she's dead. Either torture him or kill him or just be done with it.
For the plot, man.
That was my only problem with the whole thing is like, wow, you really made her dark as fuck. That's it. That's all I got.
I actually liked it, but that's just me.
I'll admit, no, like I totally get where you're coming from, and since watching it, like I know that's been a common complaint with Jean Grey's depiction in this. It didn't bother me as much because I'm like, okay, well, clearly we know she's eventually, because again, the way the movie ends, the last shot of her is on a bus going somewhere in upstate New York, possibly.
Right.
Who knows? She's obviously not learned how to control her powers. She's learning how to use it. She knows its limitations, but she hasn't had like that Professor X guidance. So I get like where a lot of that anger comes from, which by the way, I'm glad they didn't hint like Dark Phoenix stuff.
I'm also glad they didn't hint any other X-Men person. It was just its own thing.
I was going to mention that too. I'm glad there wasn't like setup for that. Maybe I did see a little subtle reference. This is just me overanalyzing when she looks up at the vent. And it's like the X shape. I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but at least it wasn't too obvious. But I kind of agree with Alba where it didn't bother me as much. Maybe that's something that could come into play when they do the eventual X-Men movie where she kind of maybe has some guilt like, okay, yeah, like I did go too far abusing these powers and actually hurting people.
Yeah.
I do hope so, because it wasn't dealt with in this movie.
No, clearly not.
And then like you like,
because then he's like, let's be friends.
yeah. And then like the whole thing you see at the end where even when Peter Parker or Spider-Man at this point, he saves her. That's her moment of like, oh, even though I did all this bad because of my sister, like I am basically no one. My mom didn't want us done. The only one that wanted me, now she's gone. I was trying to look for her. I only have a scrunchie left to remember her. Now this person let me
A blue and yellow scrunchie.
blue and yellow. Oh, nice blue and yellow scrunchie. That's. I think that was the only like hint at that.
And it was in the form of an X. No.
And then the only person who actually didn't look at me like I'm someone evil or someone, he just saw who I am as a troubled person, saw me for a person, and I get him injured. But my whole twist to that is let me use whatever telepathic whatever to make sure he doesn't die and at least get him to help or something.
Yeah, because definitely you see like she's developing that hatred for humanity, which is a common thing in X-Men villains.
I just thought they were going to reserve that for Eric Lensher.
But I'm glad where they didn't go full blown with that, but like there's that moment where she had, I'm not going to say canon event per se, but she had like, I'll just say canon event where she did see that there are good people out there, you know, that they're not all evil. So now she's going to go on her path to actually be good.
Yeah.
So
it was just surprising. It was jarring, but overall, everything else was great.
The other thing I was worried about was when I was hearing all the casting news for this, that, oh, such and such villain is going to appear. And my worry was, okay, this is going to be overstuffed. Like, is this going to be Amazing Spider-Man 2 or Spider-Man 3? But I'm so glad that most of those were just cameos and a quick montage, which I'm like, okay, this makes sense. And I also thought, like, is this also another subtle reference to what could have happened in Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 4? Now, I don't know if you guys know that one thing that did get leaked was an opening scene where it would be a montage of Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, busting all these D-list villains.
Okay.
One being Mysterio, being played by Bruce Campbell. So I kind of wonder, like, is this like kind of like a little subtle nod, like, oh, hey, we got to do it, but we, you know, like this is just like, this is how you do it kind of thing.
And it felt like a comic book movie. And I love the honoring the splash pages, the cover pages.
Oh, yeah. I think the only issue I have with this movie is after you're done with, you're going through halfway, and then there's a point in the movie where it just feels like, oh, it feels like it's going to end. And I'm just like, cool, it's going to end. That was fast. And then it continued. I was like, that's the only point that this movie is like a negative for me.
So I ended up rewatching it, don't ask me how, and enjoyed it even more the second time around, and it reconfirmed my whole thing with like Jean Grey. But that, what you're talking about, where like you thought it was going to finish, it's an additional 10 minutes of like the sort of epilogue.
Yeah.
Yeah. It felt longer.
Yeah.
You know, because again, we slowed it down and we stay in those moments and stuff. By the way, so I was hoping that MJ was going to remember Peter eventually. And so then when Ned eventually does remember him, I go, oh, wait a second. No, but I thought they were just completely erased. But I forgot that Ned has inherent magical abilities because he used a sling ring in
Also, when
No Way Home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, when when they're kind of frozen in that weird thing,
Yeah.
MJ's crying. So I'm just like, is she now remembering?
Oh, that's a good
Because
point.
they don't go into it anymore, but she has tears in her eyes, like, and she's looking at Ned.
No, I just think that they're not unconscious when she freezes them.
Well, I think what Elle was referring to is that, you know, in the climax where she has like half the city frozen,
Yeah.
like did that maybe unintentionally unlocked those lost memories possibly?
Because
I mean,
she was
they don't straight out show
Loosey-goosey.
it.
Because she was already in her head.
No, I get it. I'm not going to argue that point. I just thought that would be loosey goosey if they did that.
Yeah.
My interpretation of that was that, oh my God, I'm frozen. I can't move. What is going on?
That too.
That was just my take of it.
Yeah, but then you see Ned and Ned's like, what's going on? And then you see everyone else and they're like just frozen. So why is she the only one with tears in her eyes? That just doesn't make sense to me. That's the only point that I'm trying to make.
It's a theory.
Oh, but you're fine with Jean Grey being dark?
I am. It's kind of like Loki, where he kind of like, hey, here we go. I say, okay, fine, whatever.
What?
Where Loki was kind of like always the bad guy.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
You know, adding to your point,
Sorry. Continue that sentence in a second. Yes, but Loki had a huge redemption arc.
What if she has a huge redemption arc?
What if? But then Loki actually did have a huge redemption. I'm not going to argue this point. I had enough with you.
okay. Moving on. Adding to your point about, you know, you were hoping that like maybe they would bring back the relationship with MJ remembering. I'm actually glad where it subverted your expectations because it's like you were expecting it to play out that way where, oh my God, I do remember you. I love you again. But I'm glad where, yes, MJ does read the letter that Peter wrote for her. And, you know, she's like, I appreciate that. Yes, of course, that you saved my life. All those, like, it did help fill those gaps. Like, how was I saved all those adventures? You know, and I know that you do still love me, but I don't feel that way for you because she's built a whole life after No Way Home. And now she's a different person. She's in another relationship.
The quote, though, where she says, but I don't love you. I don't even know you. Carlos?
That was crushing. And
I forgot, but this is not an unfamiliar thing. They did that in Guardians.
No, yeah, like they did that with Gamora. So, which again, I'm glad in that movie they stuck to their guns. Where it's like, this isn't the same Gamora. This is a different one that's now had different experiences. None of the memories,
and it's not like a 50 first dates where it's like, and then they, love at first sight.
They actually stuck to their guns,
Yeah.
but
Appreciated it.
But she does still like clearly, like you could see, like she has developed an attachment because of their chemistry, like how they bonded when Peter's like protecting her. So it's like, hey, do you want to come upstairs just so you can meet Ned? And then you see the three of them hanging out. And that was what Peter needed. And that's what I loved in this story, where it's a bit dark, not like Batman dark, but a little angsty, where you really do feel Peter's loneliness because he has no one, because no one knows who he is. So now that he gets to have a connection with something with his old life, even though they don't remember who he is, I think that also helped like balance his powers, because that's another like little plot with this, that it's a bit of the opposite of Spider-Man 2, where he was losing his powers because he couldn't balance his life. But now in this,
Too much power.
it's too much.
Too much jizz hand.
So, I'm glad like that's the way they resolve that, where they leave it open that like maybe they could reconnect in the future.
Right.
But I'm glad they stuck to their guns, where no, the love story doesn't go the way you expected.
I loved it. They set a really high bar.
Yeah.
And then lastly, especially with the visual effects, the costume looked fucking great. We saw it in Dolby. It popped.
An actual physical cloth, like fabric costume.
Why'd you say it's so soft?
Cloth. Where it like, I didn't hate like the prior costumes he's had. Like they look cool.
But you don't connect with it.
Because it's a mocap suit.
Yeah.
I'm glad like with this, it's an actual physical thing he wore.
And I love that the sort of implication is that he took inspiration from Peter 2 and Peter 3.
Yeah.
Or he's Peter 3, Peter 1 and Peter 2.
Yeah.
You know, with like the raised webbing and the pop of color and just the perfect mix of all those three things, even like the symbol on the back, all of it. And then the lens weren't like overly used, you know, big winky eyes, nothing.
But
just
still
for slight
expressive.
yeah, just slight expression though.
Yeah.
But, and then also like the stunts. Now, you know, this isn't an Odyssey level thing where like most of the stuff was in camera, but they did their best to shoot as much in camera as you could for one, a superhero movie, and two, a Spider-Man movie, you know, and where I'm looking at these scenes and I go, wow, I'm going to make up a percentage here. I want to say like maybe 70-40.
I would say.
Wait, what's the math on 7, 8, 9,
70,
10, 70-30.
I was off too for a moment.
You know, 70, I feel, you know, where everything else that you can't do that is actually impossible is then zhuzhed up with CG and other visual effects. But to see a lot of the wire work and the amazing stunt work is fan-fucking-tastic. And I felt as connected as you should be in a Spider-Man movie, where you're not having this big old wash of colors and shit like that. Goddamn, yeah, I want to watch it for a third time. I really like this movie, and I'm excited to see where either the Spider-Man story goes from here out. Even with the after credit scene that people are joking could have been an email because you waited all that time for literally just a graphic of possibly a second Spider-Man in space. But so not only am I excited to see where this story is going to go, it makes me more excited to see what they're going to do with X-Men. Now that they're treating it with hopefully a darker, I'm hoping to keep the darker tone because X-Men, that's the significance of X-Men, is that they're dealing with all of these sort of, the injustices of, you know, different people. And,
keep the darker tone, but don't like Jean Grey being dark. Ooh.
Well, because that that darkness should lie in like the Magneto characters that are the really dark ones, all like the Brotherhood stuff. Which also I think they but rumors going around that there's like two runners for Magneto, possibly Jensen Ackles.
Or Patrick Wilson.
Yeah. But this is a whole different discussion. I'm kind of done talking about the Spider-Man thing. And I brought this up in another podcast that I do. But my only problem with Magneto in current era is he's not of age to then have experienced the Holocaust, which is a huge factor in his character.
So again, we won't diverge too much because, you know, we still gotta, I think we're done with the movie. But so that's been a recent talk where, they could give him this ability where his aging slow. But I'm like, but that's not one of his actual mutated abilities. So what some people suggested that, okay, well, if you're going to have a modern day Magneto, you could still have him keep the same trauma with, you know, genocide, like with the genocide experiences, but have it with another active genocide that happened after World War II. Some have said like, okay, well, there was one like in Eastern Europe, like in the 90s or 80s. Like there's been other horrible events that has happened where it doesn't have to be exactly the Holocaust. You could still have the same experience at a different year, but you still keep the core character elements.
I just know that there will for sure be a handful of upset people.
Oh yeah, because they want the actual 100% faithful adaptation.
That's going to be a tough one. So we'll see how that goes. But Spider-Man, have you seen it? Tell us what you thought about it.
We loved it.
Next movie.
Okay, now for an even bigger discussion, The Odyssey. Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey, starring
everyone.
Well, I wanted to try to list some people.
But yeah, you can still list everyone.
Yeah.
Starring Elliot Page, why does that at the top of my head right now?
Yeah,
Benny Safdie, Matt Damon, John Leguizamo, Tom Holland, John Bernthal, Robert Pattinson, Lupita Nyong'o.
How did you forget Anne Hathaway?
Anne Hathaway. You know what? Because I have a list here, not of the cast, but of their character names that are complicated.
Oh.
And I'm like, Penelope, that's easy. Or how do you say it in Greek?
Penelope.
To any Greek listeners, I hope we do you proud.
All right, let's get into the controversies or the backlash. You can't not talk about the Odyssey without getting that shit out of the way.
Oh man.
So there's three major things that were surrounding this when the trailer came out, which that trailer ended up being the most unliked trailer in YouTube history. Disliked. Yeah. Which go fuck yourselves, people. Those everyone who complained about all these things regarding the backlashes, you're quiet now.
Literate now.
So the three major things were some casting issues, the big one, historical inaccuracies, and another one, American slang, or just, an American accent. Casting. The two major casting issues were Lupita Nyong'o as Helena Troy and
Elliot Page.
Everyone was like, oh, is she going to be Achilles?
Which I don't know where the fuck did that come from.
Because they're illiterate.
And they wouldn't let it go. Yeah.
They think, okay, cool. So let me go ahead and look at they're focused on the a Trojan War.
Yeah.
Achilles is in the Trojan War. Newsflash, he dies in the first part. Okay, so this is Odysseus.
Spoiler alert for a super old story.
3,000 years. There's no spoiler there.
80 years old. Newsflash. Hey here, Buster.
So I was like, Achilles is not in this one. That's for sure. I know that for a fact.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I wanted to know what character he would have been. That was the only thing.
So instead, Elliot Page plays Sinon. Now, this is Odysseus' movie. I want to say it's equal parts Odysseus' movie and not equal parts. No, okay. There's a whole pie chart and a whole third of it is Odysseus, and then the others are split off between Penelope and Telemachus.
Yeah,
and then there's everyone else in between there, and everyone else that had there really is there is no small part. I think some director a long time ago said that there is no small part. There are no bit roles. Everyone has a part to play, and it's as big as anyone else's part. Even Anne Hathaway acknowledges that in one of the many interviews where she tells Matt Damon's like, yeah, we're now covering the extras or the background artists, as they call them, right? That are in the far back. Now we have to get their coverage and their reaction, which means she goes, well, I'm going to be there for them and I'm going to sell it we're doing our close-ups and everything, which is awesome. That's everyone respecting every role. So whether it's in the movie story-wise or even on the cast and crew, everyone acknowledges that there are no small parts to play. Everything is as important as the next thing.
And especially if you manage to get a role, no matter how small it is, how big of it is, you're in a Christopher Nolan movie.
Yeah.
You're going to act the shit out of it. Look how Cillian Murphy started off as a small supporting role. He ended up being the lead in Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
Won an Academy Award. Matt Damon, supporting role in a couple prior Nolan movies. Got to be the lead in this. And also adding to the casting controversies with people making a big stink about Travis Scott being in this.
That's another one, yeah.
Yeah. And for heaven's sakes, there's an ex-NHL player who has been in 3 Nolan films as a background thing. You basically go from being in Tenet, Oppenheimer, and then now the Odyssey, but yet you're still backup. I'm like, this guy is side questing into Nolan films.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Now, I understand, and I'm still want to talk about casting, but this sort of links into historical accuracies or inaccuracies, whatever the fuck. Give fuck yourselves. With Lupita Nyong'o as Helen of Troy, and also Clytemnestra. As people were saying on the internet, Helen of Detroit. It's very crass, it's very rude, it's very racist, to be frank about it. Even though this is a mythological story, I understand that there's a lot of it based in history, right? It's a real era. There were real Greek soldiers. There wasn't really a Helen of Troy, was there?
No, she's basically like a demigod. She was born from an egg.
An egg, Isaac.
So what's the historical
I'm
accuracy?
laughing at the way you did that. The head shake the hand. Egg.
Continue.
You're like,
But my point, her role as Helen isn't so... I keep using the word integral. It's the word of the day. Integral to the overall story where it's like, oh, I can't suspend my disbelief. If you are still having a problem with that, watching this movie, it says more about you than it does about her actually being cast as Helen of Troy. Honestly, she's in it for 3.5 fucking minutes. It angers me because people are making such a big fuss about it. Same thing with Elliot Page. How can Elliot Page be a Greek warrior? The point is he's supposed to be a weak soldier. That is the point of it.
yeah. And the whole thing, it's like, again, mythological tale. It's a poem. What part of it being this poem that's older than the Bible are we arguing? We don't know what type of people actually were in the Bronze Era because there's only drawings. We don't know the ethnicities. Next thing we We do know that it's close to India, close to like all these, you know. So why is race being such an issue with that?
Here's what I think Nolan did, and this is my interpretation of his interpretation. This Odyssey is Nolan's interpretation. Can I get that in bold, italicized, underlined, flashing neon colors? This is an interpretation, is not an adaptation. It's like with Wuthering Heights, the recent one, The Wuthering Heights, right? Because it is the director's interpretation of that story. That story exists. It's been done over and over in its truest, purest original form. So any purists that are out there that are looking for those same beats and, you know, they want Odysseus to have a conversation with the Cyclops and being like, my name's nobody. Got him. This isn't that. This is his interpretation to make it to lean into Nolan's particular grounded tone. And I think it very, very much worked. But the reason why I think Nolan cast basically every color under the sun, I mean, he had some Asian characters in there. He had Indian characters in there. Fucking John Leguizamo's Puerto Rican, right? You know, so is I think the overall movie, when it all wraps up at the end, is an allegory for society. And how we're supposed to act when it comes to Zeus's law. How are we acting as a society? You know, are we betraying these things, there should be kind of human laws of treating each other well, which seems simple and it's been done in time before, although, you know, not so on the nose like with Disclosure Day. Listen.
Right.
Yeah.
But that is sort of one of the many overall themes. And I think that's why you have very vast palette of people. This is the society that we live in, not just as a country, but in the whole entire world. And that shouldn't stop from just what we call home. We aren't just one color. We are these different people of all shapes, colors, and sizes and creeds.
Yeah. And again, going back to, you know, like we'll finish like the casting point where people were drawing so many comparisons between the casting for the Odyssey and the 2004 movie Troy, which, okay, that's kind of funny that you're putting that movie in high regard. You realize that none of those actors were actually Greek, either British, Scottish, American actors.
Also different book.
Yeah, exactly. And with the dialogue, which again, this goes into casting with Sword and Sandal movies like this, I didn't hear those same complaints for a movie like, say, Spartacus, like the old school one with Kirk Douglas.
Right.
He was using an American accent in that. And I don't hear people complaining about that.
So as far as like the historical accuracies, right? The armor is different from real Greek armor. The ships, Jesus Christ, people wouldn't shut the fuck up about the ships. I get it. You know what movie did it? Troy. Troy did it very well. But you know what Troy wasn't going for? A very particular tone that Nolan's trying to do. I think it would have cannibalized that if he was like, oh, you gotta do it accurate and stuff. It's like, I like the way it looked. I like the way it felt. Maybe there were logistical reasons. You know, you can't have a camera on that particular Greek ship, whatever. The fact of the matter is I don't care because the story stood out amongst everything else and all those little things where people are like the armor and the ships and whatever.
And in the end, it didn't take us out of it at all.
Not one fucking bit. And if you're listening to this and you still haven't seen the movie and you're still bitching about all of those things that I mentioned, which I know you are, just see the movie. See the movie and try as you might to unclench your asshole and just put all of those animosities aside and just go into a movie with an open mind. It's like going into a fucking comedy show, a stand-up show, and going like, arms across, make me laugh. It's not the point of any art form. You go in going, I'm ready to experience. That's the mindset.
I'm judging those people hard for them.
Hard.
Just for the fact that it's like, you're going to listen to someone bitch and complain and call out the negative on everything. When like the whole point of this movie is pointing out what people used to do. Again, Caesar's Law and how people stop following Caesar's Law. So it's the same thing as online when people being negative if they're not following whatever law is. So I'm like, so you're going to be one of those people? Yeah, you got to check your priorities on that one.
Absolutely. And then you said it before, like with the Charlton Heston? No,
Kirk
Douglas, excuse me. There's a lot of like the old school way of making movies, which it's a whole segment we'll get into as far as how Nolan approached this thing. And it's so amazing. This is what it looks like when you properly use $250 million and you don't give $30 million to your lead actor. Moana.
You don't use wigs.
Do you wear wigs? But the one thing that Nolan made sure not to pull from the classic movies was a huge orchestra, you know, to give it that sort of like highfalutin feel, that elevated feel. And it's the reason why he didn't give everyone a British accent. Because why have a British accent? There's Greeks. These people are playing Greeks. Why not have it in a full Greek? Why not have it in a Greek accent? Although we've seen that with Russell Crowe in Thor. We saw how that went. You flicked too hard, damn it!
Vocal sim of the day.
Sorry. I find myself saying that about 5 times a day. So Nolan said it himself that he wanted this movie to feel, this is his words, accessible. And you do that through, you know, lack of big orchestrated score, lack of big orchestra, and you simplify the language. Too simple for some people's taste. I may understand that. It did take me a beat or 3 to get over it, because I realized it wasn't the American accents that I was hating. It was that I'm so used to any period pieces immediately defaulting into British accent. They always do that. So he's like, no, let's just make it more accessible. Why do you have to have any accent? So any, mini, miny, mo, let's just make an American accent. Because I think it would have been awkward to hear Matt Damon try to, you know, portray, do a British accent. But I digress.
Yeah, and you know, again, we'll finish our ramblings with all this controversy and hate towards the Odyssey. So now that the movie's been out for couple weeks now, Elva, you mentioned this too, like how now all those people are quiet that were making their ramblings with the casting and everything. So now those same people are trying to change the narrative to make it seem like the Odyssey is a total box office bomb, where now they're saying that the studio is lying about their box office earnings. They're claiming that, the studios are buying all the seats in the movie theaters, and then when they go into that whatever theater show, it's completely empty. And on top of that, with the scores on Rotten Tomatoes and all the other review sites, that those numbers are greatly exaggerated. So the fact that now they're just trying to pull the same conspiracy theories that Captain Marvel went through, it's the same exact thing. And there's this YouTuber called Dan Merle. I highly recommend if any of you watch his video, where he debunks all those claims in like a 30-minute video. Like, he doesn't like sound like angry. He's just pointing out the facts that the numbers don't lie. What this movie has earned is what it's earned. And we've gone to see this movie twice, packed theater house.
People are they really want to die on this particular hill. Like you said, Alva, get the priorities straight.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm gonna go see it in 70 millimeter, and I'm so happy that there are more dates now.
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's extended into September.
16, yeah. So I'm just like, cool. My thing is, how much of a dumbass do you have to be to switch from, these inconsistencies to, the box office? What's next? Something about the script, or you can't figure out the fucking book. Get a fucking dictionary. I tried reading the fucking Odyssey with the fucking translations. I had Google open.
Stuff. Me and you were trying to read it.
Yeah,
that's hard to get through.
Fucking stop bitching.
So now I kind of want to step away from that a little bit. Actually, one quick note, because we watched it in theaters twice. Mainly, one, I wanted to experience it again, and then two, after watching it the first time, I could not get the movie out of my head because there's a lot of layers, and audiences love layers. And so I wanted just to reconfirm some of those like theories and perceptions that we had. But I wanted to know, especially as far as the casting is concerned, specifically with Elliot Page, is when I saw the movie the first time, and it almost opens with him, where there is that moment that I realize this is the first time I've seen Elliot Page on screen outside of the Umbrella Academy. Where in the Umbrella Academy, he originally plays Vanya, and then he transitions to Vic, and that's treated per the story. So this is the first time where we are treating Elliot Page as just in the movie, a biological male. And so it was a little jarring for me in that moment, because I realized I haven't seen him acting in this just a straight biological male role. And so on the second watch, once I was already over that, then I really got to enjoy it. So that is just where my mind went as far as like that casting. But he nailed it.
Haunting performance.
Fucking great. Especially when they go to Hades.
Yes. That was like one of my favorite scenes of the movie.
Nailed it. Right there. I'm like, amazing.
I laugh at the whole nailed it, because it just opens with him getting nailed arrows and a javelin.
But yay, now we could actually talk about
yes, please.
Yes,
what we loved.
So do you guys have any major critiques I got one small one.
I like rewatching it a second time. Like I really tried to see what didn't work. Maybe perhaps the only thing was just the sea monster Scylla. That, you know, Nolan wanted to do everything on camera. He had either a huge animatronic puppet for the Cyclops. It's kind of funny how with the sea monster with all the tentacles, that was all fully CG and you don't get a good look and it's just like a brief moment. I kind of felt like, okay, yeah, we put so much energy on all the other creature effects, the giants and everything. But for the sea monster, okay, we're just going to rush through that.
I have a theory on maybe why he had to go CG with that one. Now, I know he wanted to go as much in camera and practical effects as possible. But the problem is that in order to, I think, do a real life puppet, you're doing it on the sea. So I think he didn't want to compromise taking the boat out of the sea. And you want to have that feel real. Because if you take anybody, you've seen movies where it's a blue screen ocean.
Yeah, and I'm not saying I was expecting him to build a full animatronic. It's just kind of funny we commented that to each other where it's like, okay, yeah, maybe for like a moment it took me out of it. But I'm like, I got back into the movies like rhythm.
Because like 95% of everything else was in camera.
Yeah, so I would say that was the gripe. But even then, that's like a small minor nitpick.
I got nothing.
Then my only nitpick on the first time around was because I'm not familiar with the story. I think, Alva, you are. Is I had to lock in. And I've, you know, with a movie like Tenet, I go, the joke is, and I want to get this shirt. The shirt does exist, is I'm too dumb to understand Tenet. Nolan is one of those directors. We had this conversation with Angel. And there's actually one thing Angel had said, going back to the whole historical. Yeah, actually, real quick, there's one thing Angel has said when we were talking about his top 25, and specifically we were talking about A Knight's Tale, where people were having an issue with the music, where it was modern music, contemporary music, and it's like, what? And the whole idea was that that's how they would hear the lute and everything like that. It would feel like a rock anthem. And so I think at using Angel's mindset and throwing it into this, I think that's why you make it more accessible. This is how they would, that it would feel to them when they talk to each other in these certain ways. But my other little small critique is because I'm not familiar with the story, is in the first 20 minutes, it's moving real fast. And I have to lock in because I'm like, wait, shit, who's Telemachus? Who's Penelope? What's the going on? Oh, the Suitors. That's right. I heard of something like this. And so they're giving me all that information and it moved kind of quickly. So if you're not familiar with the story, it's your first time watching it, you might get a little bit lost if you're a dumb like me. But then the second time around, I already knew all the beats and everything going on, that I was able to just sort of take in the rest of the cinematic experience.
I think going back to my statement that I had nothing to nitpick about, I think the only thing that I had a nitpick out of this that I had an issue with was we went to go see a 7 p.m. showing of this and I was tired and I kind of wish I had the coffee before, but I know that we were running to not miss the beginning because sometimes we really,
we're not good about time.
We're not good about time. So this is one of those things where I'm like, I'm just going to sacrifice my coffee. That was the only thing. That's on a personal note though. But the movie itself.
I love how like your critique was like, oh, it's not the movie. It was the choice I made of not getting coffee.
It was me.
This is a me problem. We're laying it all out on the pod.
I'm sorry, Mr. Nolan. It's a me problem.
It's a me problem. I swear, I promise. No, I don't think I had any issues with the whole movie. I do want to read the Emily Wilson book to see where he kind of like got the inspiration for certain things. Because I know Isaac and I tried to read, I forgot what version of it, but we were basically with Google, had the dictionary open and be like, look, and coming from someone who reads on a daily, I feel the reason people don't want to actually get to understand this whole thing is because they don't want to be those people with a dictionary on the side been like, what's this name or how do you pronounce this? And I'm like, be that person. That's how you fucking learn something. You fucking idiots. I swear to God.
Overall, before we get in deeper into the movie, overall, as far as the cinematic experience, Elva's right. It was a long day. I was particularly tired. I was like, oh boy, I didn't drink. I didn't have any caffeine. I think I'm going to fall asleep in this. It's a 3-hour movie. It's the Odyssey. It seems like it's going to drag. Somebody that I know that I won't name, and he really disappointed me. He's like, I have no interest. And I'm like, all right. I was kind of almost sort of like that. By the way, even as far as like all the backlash controversy things, I was starting to believe in some of those things. And so I had to use all my mind power to go, okay, I'm just going to experience this as a movie and get all of those things out of my head. Shit, I'm also sleepy. Like when we talked about Robin Hood, the Robin Hood movie, I go, if you're any bit of sleepy, the movie really breathes and you'll fall asleep. Not the Odyssey. You guys, I was so fucking tired. And the movie hits me with all of its glory, and I am sat, and I am awake, I am alert, I'm locked in. I didn't fucking blink. My eyes are drying out of my head. Like, not only was I just there for it. That's what good movies do, people. That's what fucking real movies do, is they you want to watch it. You're not getting dragged through it. Not only that, but even Carlos goes, really? Is at the very end credits, I applaud.
You never applaud.
My hands just rose from my lap and met together in this slow clap. And I'm like, holy shit. Because I hope that somewhere, Nolan feels the little ripple of air my clap is producing.
Do you remember at that moment, I looked to my left. I'm like, dude, did you just applaud?
I did. I never applaud. I think it's annoying.
I was in like a, what the fuck did I just see? Like, kind of like, but not like a bad, what the fuck did I just see? Like more of like the, what the fuck kind of.
His hands.
Cinema.
Because I think I've been mentioning this movie every episode, or at least every other episode, until, I'm like, I overly hyped something, which it's rare for me to do. It's something that I actually wanted to see and was just mind blown. So when you clapped, I was just like, that doesn't seem right. Him clapping. I think I'm in a different universe.
Like, is this a dream?
Yeah. I was like, did I fall asleep? And somehow him clapping, and then a moment I panicked. I'm like, did I fall asleep through this movie? Which I did not. I was ready to pinch myself and stab myself with my damn long nails so I could stay awake. But that didn't happen.
Was I in an Inception dream?
And for me, again, credits come up, title card, The Odyssey. I'm like, this is, I know when people say like, oh, epic movie, it tends to be overused. And I haven't really felt
this is now the standard.
This is like the standard of an epic movie. The last time I felt close to that was Lord of the Rings, the last one that came out.
Heard about that movie.
Yeah, I think you guys may have heard of it. You guys should check it out. Just saying. But I digress.
IHST.
I haven't seen that.
But I'm like, dude, like this is an epic movie. We haven't gotten a movie like this in such a long time. And I'm like, I'm all for it. Like, I want more movies like this.
Now, as far as a story, I'm kind of happy that I wasn't so well versed in the Odyssey, because that means I'm not precious about the story. And it's neither a good nor bad thing, because when I go into something like for instance, when Harry Potter was adapted, and that's an adaptation. It's going beat for beat, and then translating it into a movie where it has to fit in that whole thing. This is a story of the Odyssey. You have to make it fit not only just the time, but the feel, the tone, and it worked. Yes, certain things were cut out of the original story. Some things were altered to land towards the themes that Nolan was going for. And if you're, about like 2/3 of the way in, you might think like, okay, but where does this really sit? Like, do they really have to compromise doing the other thing with whatever story beats, whether it's like how long he's on Calypso's Island or the Cyclops thing, that whole, like, I get it, people. I get that that's why those beats were in there in the original story. But in this overall thing, it all makes sense when we wrap up with Odysseus's final monologue, essentially, to Penelope. And it was this setup that I didn't know that they were doing. Like, it's still amazing to watch and get the story of the siege of Troy, and from the perspective of like basically third hand Bard, the first hand with Menelaus, right? And who else did we get it from? We got it from someone else. I'm blanking out completely.
Agamemnon? Or wait, who?
I feel like we got the story of Troy told from someone else.
Menelaus,
the Bard, because that's just the legend of it.
Yeah.
And then whatever. And then finally we get in more bits and pieces with Odysseus. But like those stories they're glorified the way any story is. It's a legend, right?
Yeah, you embellish it over time.
Absolutely embellished. I mean, I just told you a story about meeting a celebrity a moment ago. I lied. I never met him. No, but I embellished certain things.
Bastard.
And so finally, when they set all that up, it's this little subtle setup that when we hit that final beat with Odysseus' monologue, and he tells you what really happened. Not necessarily what really happened, but he didn't leave out the dirty details.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it hits home with what Nolan was going for, which is the true nature of people, the true nature of soldiers and war and sacrifice and loyalty and love and non-romantic love. I mean, being a father, being a son, but it all just beautifully, I mean, talk about a bow, and it put all of these pieces together, and you stand back and you go, yeah, that's the Odyssey right there.
I didn't expect it to go into the whole themes of PTSD, that self-guilt. I mean, going back to your point when Odysseus is giving his monologue to Penelope in disguise, now we kind of see the full sack of Troy, because we see the flashback of the Greeks getting into Troy, and it cuts away from how the rest of the battle goes, which it's not really a battle. But now when we get the reveal of what happened at Troy, what did he see? The reveal of Athena, which watching it a second time hit me even more, even though I already knew that reveal. So now we know like why Athena appears as Zendaya. It's a manifestation of his guilt.
Which I'm glad that's where that went. That twist I wasn't expecting, because there's a moment in the movie where we're presented with Athena, with Zendaya as Athena, and I think, okay, so the gods will show themselves, right?
Yeah.
Like, are we going to see a Poseidon? We're going to see a Zeus. And one of the first conversations that Odysseus has with Athena is about, why do the gods talk in code, or why don't they speak in ways that we understand? And she responds to him, who doesn't understand thunder? Fire, a child's smile, a good harvest. But the first one she knows is thunder, which is used a handful of times throughout the thing. And anytime thunder's heard, it is never a coincidence, because that is actually the gods' influence with the regular people, the mortals. In fact, on the second viewing, I caught it where it's basically Zeus yelling at Calypso when she's having these moments, and then thunder, and she looks up the sky, and Odysseus doesn't note it. And then she switches her tone and goes a different direction. She's like, okay, I get it. Now I got to let this guy go. And anytime she's going to continue with her, her wiles to keep him, thunder, and okay, fine, I'll let him go.
Or even the final battle when he's going against all the suitors, and you just hear the thunder, like just getting louder and louder. Mm-hmm. And that's why some of the suitors give up and they just start bowing to Odysseus. Mm-hmm. Because they realize like, oh shit, like Zeus is like pissed that we broke Zeus's law, and here the king has returned, and we're trying to kill him. So no, I'm out. I'm bowing out. I'm not going after Penelope anymore.
But I like how he took Agamemnon, whatever he told him, to heart. Don't go back home
expecting
high
praise and loyal people worshiping you,
but go as a beggar.
Mm-hmm.
That was amazing as to like I think any aspect also in like life. Like if you're expecting to see people's true colors and you go as yourself, you see people how they are when they're face to face. But then when you always hear people like backstabbing or talking behind your back. But then when you actually do notice those people talking behind your back, it's like, oh, I now see who is loyal within my own group.
That and also I think it spoke to the veterans. And when Odysseus finally comes back, but he comes as a beggar. I think when Telemachus is asking him, like, why isn't he just, approaching as the king of Ithaca? He says that great line of, the best view of a man is from below.
Yes.
How you judge a society is how that society treats its lowest person, its beggars. And through Zeus's law that may be a god in disguise. It's the old do unto others as you would have them do unto you. It's powerful. It's crucial. Now I'm not kicking beggars out. I'm not throwing shit at them. I'm also not.
You got to get these beggars out of here.
Get these beggars out of here. By the way, I know like people clipped it and it sounds silly, isolated, but like in the whole scene, in the context of it, I'm like, okay, no, it makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. He's also a bitch character.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There's another theme that I thought was quite powerful, and Odysseus is presented as a godly man and trying to live by Zeus's law, and that's how he runs Ithaca. And Penelope believes in that and teaches that to Telemachus. Although Telemachus doesn't have Odysseus directly to raise him with that mindset, but he still lives by it to heart. In fact, he never betrays it. He doesn't commit the sins of his father, and he doesn't pay for the sins of his father. You know, Odysseus, very Jesus-like, if you will, bears the weight of that, of all of his sins. He understands what he did. So you're thinking that Odysseus is a very godly man, and in that flashback bedroom scene where he's talking with Penelope about going to war and maybe they should just escape and everything, Odysseus has a very powerful line, which is the power of damn, I keep ruling these lines. The power of a sacrifice is in the cost of the person making it. He doesn't believe that. Actually, that sentence doesn't work, because what is he doing throughout the whole movie? And I sacrifice you, and I sacrifice you, and woe is me, I was there with you. And what does Sinon say? Doesn't matter, because I didn't know that you were there.
Yeah.
You sacrificed me, essentially. I didn't know. Why am I just a pawn?
You didn't tell me the truth.
Same thing with Agamemnon's daughter, also Clytemnestra's daughter, right?
Yeah.
So no, the power of a sacrifice is not in the cost of the person making it. That's what he wants to believe. That's why, as this general of this army, that he's sacrificing a handful of people. And as that army dwindles down into just a ship, a half a ship of people, is when he slowly, after all these years and all these trials and tribulations, that he realizes there are more value to people. There's more value to a person, that you can't just go, no, that's why we had to sacrifice you in order to get us into the thing. And yeah, sure, but it's cruel and it isn't worth it. On top of that, sacrificing, or rather breaking Zeus's law. You know, yeah, it was a lot of, practice what I preach, but I don't practice what I preach. The whole idea, which I love that that's the last shot of the whole flashback of Troy, the siege of Troy, the sack of Troy, of the horse. So there's one idea, this one trick, betraying Zeus's law. He was all about it, but he's like, yeah. But for my purposes, I'm going to break the rule. But you guys don't do it. I'm going to break this rule in a very cruel way and present to you the horse as a gift, as an olive branch, in order to get in there and kill you guys. When it comes to war, it isn't soldier against soldier. It's the collateral damage. It's the regular people. And so in that final retelling, when Odysseus is talking to Penelope about it, he sees his men for who they truly are, which is what Circe already saw.
Yeah.
These hungry pigs, these violent men that he thought he can control for their purposes. But they're just killing innocent after innocent. And of course it lands on that final innocent, which is Zendaya's character. It's brutal. It's fucking deep. It's epic. It's brutal.
Yeah, it doesn't glorify the story of the Trojan War. It just shows you, like, again, the humanistic cost. I'll just put it that way. Like, it, like at what cost? Like, yeah, you ended a 10-year war, but what did it cost for you personally?
You became the sea people.
Yeah, and that was the
good.
other thing with the metaphor of the sea people, because throughout the movie, the characters are saying, there are stories of the sea people that are ravaging villages, towns, other kingdoms. And we're wondering, like, so is this like another threat that Odysseus had to face throughout his Odyssey going back home? See, I did the thing. Anyways. But then when there's a reveal that, like, no, like the stories of the sea people was because of Odysseus, of the things he did trying to get back home. How the first village that they land after they leave Troy, they burn down the homes of these villagers and they're like taking all their supplies, and they're like, oh no, it's Zeus's law. But it's like, but you're supposed to show mercy, but you're burning down a village. And then when they get to the Cyclops' cave, they see all his supplies hanging. They're like, wow, like they have really good stuff. We should just take it. But it's like, but why should we do that?
Yeah, very presumptuous.
But then Odysseus is like, no, like Zeus's law, like, so we'll wait, we'll welcome him back to his home and introduce ourselves, and we'll take his stuff. So double standard. And we find out, no, the sea people was Odysseus and his crew.
Also going back to how people were like saying that he never said the nobody part. He's like, I'm Odysseus, whatever. But he, in a way, he did get that, like, it was me kind of thing when he shoots the last arrow at Cyclops when they're running down the hill. And they go, was that even needed? He was already injured.
Yeah, like they had already escaped.
Yeah.
And his response was, well, we lost a few good men.
Yeah. And that was it was me moment.
It's the ego.
Yeah.
And people are complaining of why keep the Cyclops. I mean, the Cyclops could talk, but I love how they sort of explained it away of, well, you don't talk to ants.
I love that line.
And some of them did understand that the Cyclops had cried out for his father's name, Poseidon. I don't think that it needed. I don't think you needed to have a full one-to-one conversation because the whole scene is supposed to be played as a horror. The same thing with the whole Cersei situation, which we'll get into that in a second. I love the classic visual effects, the forced perspective, the puppet, just all of it. All of it's fantastic. And one of the things that some people were complaining about was like there's a few very, very loud parts of the movie. One is the sack of Troy. And I love the sound design of that, of like just, the crowd multiplied by 100 and it's blaring in your ears. But in the Cyclops cave, the Cyclops' scream is painfully loud. It's supposed to be painfully
You're
loud.
in a cave. It's an echo and it's a giant being. You don't expect it to whimper.
You're supposed to feel it. I mean, talk about immersion. I loved it. I love that.
Yeah, it didn't bother me.
No. Oh, I liked, there was one post where someone went to the Universal parking lot, and I guess when they were filming a certain scene.
Oh, yeah. The Zeus fucking raining down on the ship.
Yeah. After they go to they're not supposed to eat damn cows.
Oh,
Helios cows, they're not supposed to eat them. And then it's basically like, whatever it is. I like seeing it from the far point of view, from like the parking lot structure. But when that scene came on, I was like, that's a scene that people,
No.
but at the same time, I'm just like, seeing it from far away and then seeing that scene and as you're immersed with the sound and everything, I was like, that was such a powerful scene where it's like, it's his ego death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was powerful. It felt powerful.
And Alva said, seen about 10 times. Did you have that on your bingo card? Yes, you do. Okay, great.
She's like, frick, you know what, guys?
Say one thing and that's it.
Anything else? I think I have a couple things, but do you have anything else? You want to jump in there?
Well, I don't know if you were going to mention the pig scene with Cersei.
Yeah.
Like, dude, Christopher Nolan, he could do horror after, like the Cyclops scene and with the pig scene. I don't know if you're already going to like jump into that right now, but just like the camera perspective, like the tricks where the camera's going around the table with Odysseus's men eating at Cersei's table. They're eating all ravenous. It's like, oh, well, they're starving, but they can't even speak. Like they're making all these like animalistic noises. And then when she starts like molding their faces, oh my God, like that was,
I didn't expect that.
I was not expecting. I wondered if they were going to do the pig scene, how would he do it?
Even on the second go around, my face was contorted in like
I paid so much close attention to like when you see their faces turning into pigs.
Yeah, it's classic Texas switches. I thought we had a conversation off mic about how we thought that he did that with like some visual effects as far as like cutting in between two shots. No, it's a continuous shot. It's just on the left side of Cersei is the actor, on the right side is the prosthetic or the prop, and vice versa.
I also like how you said earlier, thunder played a big part of everything, but when it was Cersei's thing, there was no thunder from the gods.
Oh, because the story goes that the gods are afraid of Cersei?
The gods fear Cersei because she basically made her own witchcraft. She was like the first like human
witch.
Yeah. So like for them to be like, oh, she decided to use what we gave her and then create her own instead of just being thankful. We are afraid of her. But I love that in that scene when Odysseus goes and does all that. Usually there would be like thunder, kind of like with Calypso or any other scene. No thunder, and it's just the horror of what Cersei can do to them.
Yeah, the additional horror of that scene is yet another theme is abuse, right? That's the implication of her situation when the soldiers first make it into her house, and she's, I think, genuinely freaked out.
Yeah.
really genuinely freaked out, as one would if you were abused. So that when she has that conversation with Odysseus and he asks, and he very, heart to heart, I love his humbleness and very, with humility asks, did they harm you? And she replies, no, but they would have.
Yeah.
That's the expectation of society with someone who's been hurt and abused. In fact, I think it's sort of implied, and this is my interpretation of it, I was thinking, well, why keep your sister as a raven or a crow?
Yeah.
And I think it's because maybe her sister has been abused so much that this is the only form in which she's the safest. Unless you're into that sort of thing.
But her response being like, oh no, we just get on better like this. And again, it's funny that, we're terrified of Cersei because we just saw what she's capable of. And then when the men get turned back into human form, and he's like, yeah, but shouldn't we kill her? She's a witch. I'm like, you just got you want to kill the person that has this power. Mm-hmm. Who knows what happened? How did she turn her sister into a crow? Like, what's the story behind that? Like, is feeding them the only way she could turn you into animals? Because I bet you she's got other tricks up her sleeves.
Oh yeah.
So again, it's just funny that they're like, oh, we should probably kill her. She's a witch.
You ever see The Simpsons when they did the Odyssey?
I know of it because they did an interview where they had the cast guessing.
Anne Hathaway.
Yeah, they had the cast guessing, okay, is it from the actual poem or is it from The Simpsons? And how Anne Hathaway got it wrong where it was her Simpsons episode that she got an Emmy for. Yeah. I thought that was hilarious.
What a fucking great thing.
Homer eating the pigs. You ate your men.
And I mean, again, we can keep going on and on and on, but go see the movie. And I think I've said most of the things I want to say about this particular movie. But one of the more powerful scenes is the siren song.
Oh yeah, that was a great scene.
At this point, I think this is
after they leave hell.
After they leave hell. But yet, still, Odysseus he still has ego. Still has a big ego, even though after leaving the shores of Hades, he sees this wall of all the fallen soldiers and the ones that he didn't treat with honor. Still has this ego about him where he's like, look, tie me to the mast. I'm going to be the only one to hear it and survive. And Matt Damon playing that part of just absolute torrent and having the narration over it with Himesh Patel and Matt Damon talking about what he heard. And I'll just quote the whole thing. Cue the music. Which I love it. I love it that that's like a trendy thing now.
Yeah.
All the things you wanted to be, and then all the things you wish for, you never wished for. It was a delicious itch you want to scratch, but you find it under the skin and you can't reach it. So the delicious itch becomes unbearable. It told you what you most want is what you most can't have, and that the most you can't have is what you already had and lost. It was a song of all the promises I failed to keep. And it told me I don't really want to go home. It's his whole thing in those few lines. Loved it. It's a fucking powerful scene that we don't get to hear the song, of course. And I like how they, the sound design muted the audio, so to speak, for that whole thing. Yeah.
I was curious, I wonder if we're going to actually hear them. Actually hear the sirens call, and what would it sound like?
Taylor Swift. Sorry. There's just been so many jokes.
The guy that jumped out of the ship to swim to the sirens, I'm like, he turned into a Swiftie. He went to go try to sneak into the wedding. But I'm glad it was more effective that we just don't hear it. But it's just, again, how you recited his interpretation, describing it, what did he hear? I'm like, yeah, I thought that was done very well.
I think the whole movie was done very well. I mean, I can, again, like I said, I can keep going on with little itty bitty things and certain visual effects, things like the giants and how they used female stunt people.
Yeah, they were shorter.
Jacked fucking female stunt people to be like Odysseus. So yeah, the shorter people, the 4 foot something people paired up with the 7 foot tall
Listrogonians.
They were
7 foot actual giants.
Which I didn't catch at first. I just thought, wait, they're on stilts, but they're moving very well.
I thought it was just all camera tricks, right? Perspective.
That was awesome.
Kind of like what they did in Lord of the Rings. Well, again, you haven't seen Lord of the Rings with the hobbits.
Yeah.
And with the normal.
Guys.
Yeah, those little folks.
The little baby ones?
With the regular size folks.
So there's Elva. Little baby ones?
Baby ones?
But yeah, we can keep going on for hours, but you've heard us ramble enough about this.
Nolan knows what to do with movies, and I do want him to do a horror film. He did say in an interview, it's very daunting to do a horror film because it has to be perfect. And that's the kind of guy that I want to do a horror film. Someone who's not just going to be like, I don't know, fucking dude, the monster, we got it. Jump scares, got it. Some kill, cool. Like, I want him to really treat, like, I know we have Werewolf
with Robert Eggers.
I know we have Eggers doing really cool stuff with horror films, but I want someone like Nolan just to give us a fucking masterpiece. He doesn't have to continue to do them. I want to see what a full feature horror film done by Nolan would be like.
And it'll cast everyone again.
Maybe Matt Damon will get that perfect.
Maybe. He's going to be the monster.
Yeah. So like I said before, I'm not gonna play the whole music and the whole YHST score thing, but with Spider-Man Brand New Day, what do you guys personally give that?
Give it a 94%.
Give it about 92.
And then with the Odyssey,
97 for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with 98.
all right. Well, Spider-Man Brand New Day gets a 90% critic score and a 98% audience score, rightfully fucking so.
Yes.
Yes. And as far as the Odyssey is concerned,
As far as
it's
concerned. That was the face
Critics
he
at
gave me.
94, audience at 97.
there you go. That's all you need to fucking know. That's why we're not going to nitpick and stuff like
Hey,
that. They're amazing movies. Go see them.
The numbers don't lie. Don't believe those assholes.
He said confidently.
Don't believe those stupid illiterate bitches
Well said.
Anything else?
with confidence.
Anything else?
Go see these movies.
Yeah, go
That's
see
it.
them.
You already saw these, and if you're apprehensive about them, then these movies aren't for you. But in any case,
Go see
we
them
loved
again.
them. Let us know what you thought about these things in the comments, in the DMs, on social media at
YHST Pod.
on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. I do appreciate everybody reaching out about our show. I do appreciate everyone reaching out about the movies and their takes on all these things. We will continue to do new releases. We'll continue to do double features on our YHST list. And if you like what we've been doing, please fight it in your heart and soul to support us on Venmo at
YHST Pod.
we appreciate you. We love you. We mean it. And in the meantime, let us know what movies are on your growing list of films that has people asking you the question.
You haven't seen that?
Jizz hands.
Okay, bye.
Laters.
No, I want the last words to be jizz hands. On 3, 1, 2, 3. Jizz hands.
Why were we doing jazz hands?